Guys, welcome back to Plus Girl Slay, the YouTube channel, and I am excited to be talking to you guys today. I wanted to give you guys not necessarily a story time, but kind of what happened. Next week you guys will see work week in my life for my new job. So yeah, let me just get comfortable because we're just gonna have a quick little chat. See, that's why I feel like y'all far away, but we're gonna have a quick little chat. I'm just gonna go over we're just gonna get into it, so let's go. So as you guys know, I graduated with my bachelor's degree in paralegal studies in December, and I decided that I would go forward into the field and started making waves to apply for positions in the paralegal field. And wow, I got 2 offers. One was with the attorney that I actually interned with, but I did not accept that position because the associate attorney, I did not feel like our personalities would blend very well. I did not get a good vibe from her. I felt like she was kind of nice nasty, and I don't do well, as you guys will see. So I did not accept that position. I accepted another position that I had applied for with the law group that I was working with, that you guys have been seeing my work weeks in my life for. And then neither one of those were the job that I wanted. I did not get the one that initially I wanted. So that is why I even applied for the other 2. So I accepted the position, and I will say that upon accepting that position, immediately I felt like I did not make a good decision. I did not feel very good about it because I was starting with very low pay. Like, I hadn't made that low of money in like over 9 years. Over 6 years. So I took a really big pay cut, and I said, you know, that's okay, I'll work my way up. It'll give me experience, it'll give me, you know, some skin in the game, not leg girl. It'll give me some skin in the game, and I'll be able to, you know, go ahead and get that experience. And if I decide that this is not right, at least I'll have the experience to move on to somewhere else. And you guys know I have been very vocal about all of the issues that I have been having, how hard it was to adjust and transition, and it got worse. It did not get better. And it was a shit job. I'm just gonna be honest. The staff was shit. My supervising attorney was terrible. And I literally just knew very early on that I was not going to stay during the duration that I had intended, because I was like, oh, I'll stay, you know, 6 months to a year, get some experience and move on. And I knew very early on that that was not going to work. A lot of reasons, which I'll go into some of those reasons. And then so yeah, so I actually started looking for a new position in February. Mind you, I had just started there in January, but that's how like terrible it was coming out. And so I remember talking with my sister, and she was like, well, this is like a transition period for you, so maybe you're just having a tough time because of that. My gut told me no, but in listening to my sister, I was like, you know what, maybe you're right. So I kept trudging forward. I still was looking for jobs, but I will be honest with you guys, I was not getting any callbacks. I was not getting anybody to call me back, and it got so bad in the beginning of March that I was about to take anything, whether it was customer service, whether it was whatever. I just needed to get up out of there. And I did try to kind of step back, and I even made a video and was like, you know what, I am trying to put forth my effort, and I don't have to share all these things, but really it was just this lady was shit. Tara just not a good leader. I'll stop saying shit, but that's how I feel. But she just was not a good leader. And yeah, then, so it was not going well. I started looking for jobs. I was not getting any callbacks. And I wasn't even getting discouraged. I just didn't understand, because it was like, I'm either overqualified for these things, or I have, you know, like a good fluff qualification for the things that I was applying for. It wasn't like I was just applying for like some off the wall stuff that I'd never done before, you know. But again, I wasn't getting any callbacks. So I decided to trudge through, but it was very hard in the working environment that I was in. And then Corona happened, and that was strike one with my previous employer. Like, Corona was strike one. So Corona happened. They were taking it as a joke. They were saying that the city was wasting time putting up these papers, because you guys know in Florida there were certain businesses that were, I don't know if you know, but in Florida there were certain businesses that were deemed essential, and so they could operate and open. Our office was, we didn't know if it was or was not, because it wasn't inherently listed, but the city didn't say no, and so they put a sign up. They took it as a joke. They did not take it seriously. It was all, girl, it was so crazy. So they implemented a rule where, and we're going to, instead of like we would get up and go into each other's office to get a file or ask a question or whatever, now we were just going to use our desk phones and email to communicate. So they said, you know, we're going to stop going into each other's offices, minimize that, you know, as much as possible, minimize, you know, contact with each other in the kitchen areas and things like that. So yes, so that's what they started to do. Then we actually had a Corona scare. The older woman, and I think I've said this before, she swore up and down that she had Corona, and I ended up getting acute tonsillitis, and that's when they decided to shut down. Here's the thing, I got acute tonsillitis because that lady actually had strep. And you know that tonsillitis is a form of strep. It's a milder form. And my boss basically said that that lady could diagnose herself with COVID because she was a nurse for years and years and all this stuff. She was not a doctor, but she said that she could diagnose herself with that, and so the office was being shut down. So I was recovering from my strep. I only needed to be out for 3 days, and that lady ended up testing negative for COVID. However, I was the only one that was required to go back into the office. Everyone else got to work from home. When I asked why, she said that a lot of the things that I do, the printing, the building of files, all that stuff would be too much, taking all my equipment and stuff with me home. However, everybody else did. It literally looked like somebody ransacked the office. And everyone else was allowed to take, even desk chairs, take all their stuff home with them except for me. And then when I got in there to work by myself, then she told me not to build anything and not to print anything. So the very reason why I had to be in there, I wasn't even able to perform that function. So that was strike one. So I said, you know what, I'm still gonna look for another job, but Corona was picking up, and then in April, y'all know, it got way out of hand. in May, you know, it just started progressing and getting worse. So I said, oh shit, well, and I even had a recruiter tell me, you know, jobs are putting their hiring efforts on freeze until they know kind of how to navigate working from home and how their staff is going to do. And, you know, it was a lot of changes and new normal things going on. So I understood that. So I said, okay, I definitely need to stay at this role because I have bills. I wanted to move out as well. So, so everything kind of kept going. I stayed, but my work environment was getting worse. Now, when I first got there, I was promised training that I never got. And I really felt like she started to nitpick at things. And it got so bad she would give me directions on how to do something. I would do it that way. Somebody would question it. And then she would say, well, why did you do it like this? And I'm sitting in my head like, because this is what you told me to do. And she started claiming that, you know, I was doing something wrong that we had talked about over and over again, which was a complete lie. And even one time, I went back and I was like, did I miss something, to the other paralegal, who was the fucking worst one, because she was not updated on any of the new processes. So asking her a question was pointless because it was always wrong. And she was like, no, she's never asked you to do that. That would be something she would ask me to do. And I'm like, okay. But that type of thing was happening a lot. And it got to the point where I would literally, every time she would speak to me, I would literally have to write down exactly what she said, and keep a tab on that, because she would say, oh, I know we spoke about this previous times. And I would be like, no, you know, or I've asked you to do this. And I'll be like, no. Strike two, I was in charge of getting medical records and things, and the forms that I was advised to use, not by her because there was no training, but by the other paralegal that had done it years ago, and even these forms were out of date. She was like, why are you using these forms? And I was like, these are the forms I've always used. These are the forms that were provided to me. They're the ones that was given to me. This is how I've always had it. And she said, well, these forms are out of date. How the hell would I know that? These are the forms that y'all gave me. So those type of things, and just knowing for sure these type of mistakes were going to continue to happen, because my foundation was never built. There was no training. I was literally learning by fire, as they called it, but there was always something going on. And then I really felt like towards the end she was nitpicking, and it was like, you're nitpicking at things that I didn't know how to do. And I remember one time she even said, well, honey, we don't know what you know and what you don't know. And in my mind I was like, I told you that I had no experience in this field. I'd never done this before, so I know nothing. So what are you even talking, like, crazy shit. So stuff like that, and it was happening all the time. And it got to the point where it was like, I had to write everything down, because she would be like, and I know we've talked, and I know I've told you this, and I know how to basically try to belittle me. She made me feel like I was stupid, or there was something wrong with me constantly, both verbally and by her actions and by the tasks that she was giving me as well. And it was like, it just was so demeaning, and I could not take that anymore. And so in June, once we kind of went through, I think phase 2, I think they called it. Did we even get to phase 2 in Florida? Things started to pick back up. More jobs started to become available on Indeed, and I kept applying, and I got really serious, and I said, listen, Lord, I'm sorry. I don't even know if you agree with me. But I am going to keep plunging forward until I find a good paying quality job. And that's just that on that. Like, I cannot, and I'm not gonna stop. And I literally was getting up at 6 a.m. doing applications, filling out applications, checking on application statuses from 6 to 7:30ish, until like I only need an hour to get ready and get out the door to go to work. I was doing interviews on my phone, in my car, on my lunch break, on my 15-minute break. I was not playing. And I will say, because I was on my way out, my quality of work actually got better, because I was like, y'all bitches is not finna say 2 words to me about nothing, but I'm getting up out of here. So I did get very aggressive with finding a job, and I interviewed for my current position and a few other positions, a lot of positions. And it came down to 2 offers, and I of course accepted the best offer for me. So yes. So how did I break the news? So I actually had decided that I was just going to put my 2 weeks notice in July. I just could not take it anymore. Good morning, friends. Guess what? Today I'm putting my 2 weeks notice in at my first paralegal job. I had no savings, I had no plans. I had no backup at that point. I was really just trusting the Lord to make a way, and literally making room. I was like, I'm gonna make room for what you're going to do for me, and that's exactly what I did. I put my 2 weeks notice in, and I went in there and told her, this is not working for me, this is not my thing. And she had the job up that same week. She interviewed, and then the week that I put my notice in, she actually brought me to her office like the Thursday before, after she only interviewed 2 people. And she said, do you mind if your last day be tomorrow? And I said, no. And she's like, and I want to leave on a good note, and I want to leave as friends. And I'm thinking in my head, like, you're an asshole, and we're not friends. And we can't even leave on that note because you're terrible. And I actually never did come back. So they didn't allow me to work my 2 weeks, which was fine, because it was what it was. But I also didn't come back, so I didn't work my last day, which I don't recommend doing. But I already knew they were already starting to get really nasty. Like the other paralegal, I asked her a question. She was like, well, you should probably go and see if such and such can do it. And I was like, I don't need all that. But they were catty and had attitudes like that. Them two were very cliquish. And they're old ladies. Like, she's 54 and the other ladies, they're like older. And just the lack of professionalism also was a really big thing. But they didn't allow me to work my 2 weeks. And when I was talking with my friend girls about it, they were like, well, what was the last straw? Because, you know, you had been saying, you know, drop the hints, like whatever. The last straw for me is, so there was the person that I replaced. So not me, but another person that was there. And mind you, they've only had one paralegal that they've kept. But because their attitudes I think that lady thrived there because their attitudes are the same. They're both like assholes. Sorry, that's just what it is. They're very like bitchy, very rude, very like nasty kind of people. So I think that's why they click, because they're kind of like the same. But she's been there. She's tenured. She's been there 4 years. That's her longest employee. Everyone else is like a revolving door. But there was another paralegal that they hired, and they called this lady a crackhead. They talked about her so bad, and they knew. I mean, they talked about her bad to me, and I was new. So, they talked about this lady so bad, and even me listening to what they were saying, I could I could tell that there was something wrong. You know, like this lady had a lot of issues, or she had been through a lot, and they knew that too. Just the empathy was lack thereof. So yeah, but the last straw, so that lady, she had a lot. I had to like clean up after some of those things that she had did, which is what you do whenever you're taking over a paralegal role, just to set expectations. You're going to be cleaning up behind the person that left. Otherwise, that person would still be there, right? So I would ask questions, and they would be like, "Crack, it was crackhead. Crackhead did this. Crackhead did it." Never calls lady her name. And I'll never forget. So the last straw for me was that lady. There was an attorney that called, and he wanted he said off the record information about this lady. I'll call her Dina, but they call her Crackhead. They don't even call the lady by her name, but I'll say Dina. So he called and he said, "Hey, I would like to get to speak to the supervising attorney. I'm thinking about hiring Dina, and I wanted to get some off the record information about her and her experience and everything." And I said, "Oh, okay." And when I heard the name, I was like, "Oh shit." So I went and told the attorney. So her paralegal picks up the phone and starts trash talking Dina to this gentleman, and he said, "Okay, well, do you mind if he had to have said something to the effect of, well, can I speak to the attorney?" Or because she was like, "Okay, well, let me get the attorney on the phone. Let me place you on hold." So then the law intern that works there every summer goes into the office, and the attorney puts the gentleman on speakerphone and starts trashing Dina. And I was so put off and so disgusted by the lack of professionalism that they showed just in that, because all that she had to say was she worked here, it didn't work out. It didn't work out, but she trashed her background. She basically said the credentials that the lady had was a lie. It was so terrible that I actually left them in there cackling like three assholes. And hold on, y'all. Okay, my camera had cut off. I left them cackling, and I went back to my I left them in there cackling like that, went back to my desk and prayed that this did not stop this lady from getting this job, if the Lord put this job in her hands, because so ridiculous. And that was the last straw. I was like, you know what? I need to get away from these people. Something's wrong. Like, something is wrong. And I don't know if that is the culture in every small firm, if it was just them, but it was terrible. And I actually I was thinking about it, and that job was a terrible job for a first-time paralegal. Terrible, especially with a lack of training. It was not it. So I accepted my position. On my birthday, actually, I got the call that I received a yes for the position. I received 2 yeses that day, and of course I accepted the offer that better suited me, like I said. But that was the last straw for me, and I left and I found another job. Now I will say that I probably should have taken my mom's advice and just quit, because financially it has put me kind of in a bind, not having an income for a month. But it is what it is what it is. I'll bounce back. So the new company, and I will do a separate video on my new role and what it entails and what it is. But basically how I got the role was the persistency of applying and doing a soft follow-up when you actually get the interview, and really just being myself in the interviewing process. That is when That is how I got my current role, and I'm very excited and very grateful and very thankful. And they are taking COVID very seriously. We're actually working from home until the beginning of the year for safety, because again, I live in Florida and Corona is not letting up. So hopefully it will get better, but whole separate thing. But yes, I'm very thankful and very grateful, and I feel like I have a good support team, and everybody has given me very good vibes. On top of that, like, I feel very good about the decision. I have no qualms. I just feel very good, and I knew that I got this job. When after my second interview, I was like, I got this job. Oh my gosh, I got this job. And if I didn't, Lord, please let me get this job. So I'm very excited for this new chapter. I'm very excited to be starting. And because I did not settle like I did the first time, and I asked for what I needed, I actually can leave my second job. I can leave my second job and focus on the other things that I want to, see grow. What I learned from another big turning point that helped me in my job search was the quality of the positions that I was searching for. I filtered by pay. I also filtered by job description and travel. I didn't work far from where I worked. I don't live far from where I worked, but I knew that Wesley Chapel wasn't happening for me. Tampa, that's iffy, because you could be deep in Tampa and it could be a 40-minute drive, and I wasn't doing all that. So I say that to say that start your bar high first, and then lower it a little bit. Don't lower your pay unless you absolutely have to, like it's dire need, you've been unemployed for, you've been unable to find a job for so long a time, then I would say that. But even then, no, I would try to get with a temp agency or somebody that can employ you, or put you in contact with people that would otherwise not see your resume. But the top 5 things I learned from this super shitty position that I'm leaving from, is 1, your time is just as important as theirs, so make sure you utilize it well. Learn what you can learn, get out of it what you can get out of. If it is not a good fit for you, then leave, and don't be afraid to leave. 2, quality over quantity. The job that I chose was not a quality position. It just, again, I was literally just using it for experience, and I really thought I was going to get some training, because that was the only position that I had that said that they were going to train me, and they did not. But the things that I have learned actually helped me to get this job, because it is a job where you have to be keen on details and things like that, and I definitely had to be keen with details with medical records and attorney request and all that kind of stuff. So yes. 3, if the culture sucks, leave. It's not getting better. If the office culture is no good, leave. It's not getting better. That's just what it is. I will say that unfortunately I feel like my last position has tainted me from going for smaller firms, because it's very hard to find attorneys in smaller firms that find you equally as important as they are, and not look at you as a lower bar. Like I said, my attorney had a problem with giving directions. She had a issue with talking to you like a person, belittling you. And I will say that, as I usually am, I was the only person of color there. And how she corrected the white paralegal is not how she corrected me. And that could be a multitude of things. But it was the same thing. How she talked to her is not how she talked to me. Another thing was, there would be big changes that were being made and I was never notified. So I'd be prepping for a case or a deposition and it had already settled and she didn't tell me. So I've done all this work, wasted my time, and didn't even know. So it just was so terrible. So and the biggest lesson that I learned was not to compromise your mental peace. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Yeah, I am, of course, going to update you guys. I'll continue doing a work weeks in my life. You guys seem to really enjoy those videos, so I will definitely be putting more of those videos out. But the moral of the story is, you are worth a better and bigger opportunity. Don't let anybody deter you from that, and don't let anybody tell you different. Whether your background is limited or you have no experience. The job that I got, I don't have any experience in this field, but because everything else has led up, I feel like everything else has led up to this point. And this is not even my dream job, but I know it's a job that I can hold on to and work my way up. And that's another thing about smaller law firms. There is nowhere to work up to. Your role will be your role. And you have to really consider that and make sure that that's a good fit for you. So, yeah, I am... y'all don't even know. I am out. I felt... better since I left. I did feel like shit because, you know, the money, but money can be replaced and remade. Okay, so yeah, to end the video here, please leave your comments down below. I did want to share with you guys that I created a platform or a paralegal space, and it is called Save File As Paralegal, and you can find that on Instagram and Twitter at Save File As, and I'll have all that information in the description box below. But I wanted to create sort of like a cornucopia for paralegals, and so I am working on building that. So I hope you guys will support that, but keep it locked here because Paralegal Tuesdays will continue. You guys be blessed, be well, and remember, do it bigger and better in true plus size fashion. I'll speak with you guys soon. Bye.